Yo, welcome back. Glad you're still with us in this journey of self-discovery, and I almost went with mutilation, but that's not the case, so might feel like it sometimes, but we're definitely making progress in this book, and I hope you are down with my sense of humor regarding this. Just so many pathways forward that we're just going to simply go through the chords today. We're going to continue on part 8b, which is actually section 7 of the book, Essential Chords and Synonyms, that we already did. If you didn't catch that video, you may want to catch that now, or you may want to catch it after this video. If you don't have the book, you can go ahead and grab it right here. And then if you want to talk more about, if you want to see the old school cover, and if you want to see the new school cover, you can use the link above or in the description below. It's got some blue and orange on it. It's exactly the same book, so we can follow along step by step and master our futures together. Okay, so without further ado, we're on page number 14. We already did all of the A's. We're beginning today with the A minor shapes. Okay, so we're starting with, and I'm going to try to do this video with 0 frame cuts. So bear with me, and if you watch closely and I do end up cutting, other than changing camera angles, see if you can call me out on it. All right, so we have the A minor, the first A minor in the 3rd row down, and that's pretty much the root. We're on fret number 2, we have the root, the flatted 3, and then the 5, which is, you know, all 3 of those notes are totally belonging to the A minor chord, the A minor triad, root, flat, 3, and 5. Now we see, I have some friends here who are asking about the circled notes. What are those meaning? What are those doing? Those circled tones are alternatives to what is actually happening in the song, the chord. So we have the root, the 3, the 5, the flat 3 and the 5. Sorry, I have to pay attention to my terminology here because it is indeed a minor chord. Root, again, the flat 3, and then the 5, and then the root, which means in this diagram we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different notes available to us to use, and all of them are either roots or 3, flat 3s or 5s, or roots, flat 3, 5, root. So any of those notes you can use to make variations of this first A minor pattern. You could even add, for some reason, if you wanted to fill it out a little bit, you could add, a couple of other notes to that lower triad. So let's move on to shape number 2. I'm using a pick now, a purple pick, so that I don't forget which diagram we're on. I don't want to miss anything. And I know some of us are in the same boat where we crave the detail. So what we talked about in the previous pattern, now we could use other circled notes, or other circles could become other chord tones in that shape. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're using the flatted 3, the 5, and then the 1, which are the actual fretted tones, with options to use, whether you want to buy the options or not, that's up to you. How much time do you want to spend with this, and I say the more time the merrier, the better, right? The more time the better. We're moving on to the next shape, which is also a variation of that first shape that we visited with all of the circles on it. We still see a few circles here, but we're not using the 3rd. We're displacing, it looks like we're displacing the 3rd, the flatted 3rd that was here with the circle. Now we're moving that up, pushing that on up to fret number 5 on the G string. So we have a root, a 5th, and then a flatted 3 on the top, with, of course, options to play any of those other notes as well if we wanted to. But the core voicing he's recommending here is to open up that shape that we saw the first one, the root, flat 3, 5, which is a closed voicing. He wants to just give us a hint here that we actually can move that flatted 3 up 2 frets, up 2 strings, up one octave. And use that voicing as well to create variety and changes in sonority in our playing, which creates overall excitement for us, certainly as players, but it encourages our listeners to continue listening to see what in the heck are we up to. So we have, potentially, you know, so we have that flatted 3 in the next voicing, the root, and then the 5. So we're basically exploring that, still breaking down second position A minor. We've got a lot of goodness happening right here in position number 2. Okay, we could make that a nice minor, you know, major minor. So the next shape over, we're still looking at A minor. Can you imagine that? We're still in position number 2. We're on fret number 2, finger number 1, and then you could either use fingers 3 and 4 to get the 5, the flatted third, and then the 1. We'll talk about George Van Eps together too. I'm assuming. If you're sticking around for this. But we have the fingers 1, 3, and 4. You could also use fingers 1 and 4. You don't have that control over the B string, whether to, you know, choke it out or not. So that's a difference to consider. Beautiful. Oh, we're changing positions. We're on position number 3 now. And we're placing because Ted Greene has placed the flatted third in the bass note now. And then we have the top 2. We have the flatted 3 and then over an octave to the next tone, the 5, and then the root note. Let's change position again. We'll move on up to position number 5. We have the 5, the root, and the flat 3. We also have a lot of circled tones. We have a root note here, a flatted 3, a 5, a root note, a flatted 3, a 5, and another root note. So we have the root note potentially tripled, which is, you know, if you know anything about voicings or voices or opinions, like, or singing, you know, if you double a voice, or in unison, it makes it more powerful and more present and more, you know, add another voice to that and another, and we're all singing in unison, and before you know it, we have a movement going. So that's an interesting thing to consider. Still in position 5, we still have some more circled notes. We have 1, 5, flatted 3, 5 that are all optional, and then we arrive at a place representing the first chord of Stairway to Heaven. Here we are, we did it. So we have the root, the flatted 3, and the 5, and all of these other circled tones. We have also the root here. So what could we do with that? Okay, we have a lot of fun with this stuff. So we have the next shape. We have a lot of circled tones here. We basically are outlining the arpeggio of A minor and just using the top 3 strings. Still on position 5. Flat 3, 5, and 1. Yeah, you got it. You're following along here. Moving right along, still in position number 5, we have the root, the 5, and then the flatted 3. So I would finger this like this, you know. You finger it out however you want. But I'm going to use, like, you know, the index, the 4th finger on the 5th. So we have the root, the 5th, and then the flatted 3rd here, which is, you know, the C note. And if I play way back here, it's likely that I'm going to need more pressure to make the connection with the fret, so I'll have to press harder and the string will be out of tune. I'm really trying to touch these strings as lightly as possible. I practice a lot on my acoustic guitar, especially for warm-ups in the morning, my half-hour, chromatic exercises. I really run that on the acoustic guitar, and my fingers really benefit from that. I'm really feeling strength in my fourth finger coming along, over the past weeks or whatever. You'll notice the same thing too. But I'm really looking at controlling that interval between the root and the fifth, and then the flatted third. Why would I want to do that? Well, I can't do this. Let's say I want to play the flat third and have the flat third ring for 1, 2, 3, for only one beat, and then just remove that middle finger. Lift it up enough to break the connection with the fretboard. That gives us another vast melodic potential. So we don't want to overlook that. As a matter of fact, we want to capitalize on that. Same thing we could do here with that 5. Yeah, and you can hear when I push my guitar a little bit, my old 𝗧𝗲𝗃 amp is just kind of ripping it up here. It's been on for 15, 20 minutes, and it's really warm. The tube's warmed up. But it's that old school amp that people used to love to blow harp through, and the guitars sound great through it. Cheap little piece of clunker, but... So anyway, we have the root, 5, and flat 3. Maybe I want to take the root note out of that for some reason. Maybe it's a new jaws arrangement you're working on. All right, so we have the next one, still in 5th position. We've got the root, all kinds of circle tones, which we're going to not overlook, but we are going to just omit. Just keep in mind, we can use these to our advantage if we wanted to, as additional tones for these voicings, duplicate some of these roots and the fifths and the flatted threes. This is one of my favorite voicings from this book. I haven't been through this book for probably decades now, decade or two, but I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. And if I can't share the truth, what can I share, man? Hate and discontent, not interested. So we've got position 5, we've got 7th fret, we've got 3rd finger, we've got fret 5 on the G string, which is 5, flat 3, and 1. So I'm going to use that first finger to, half capo the guitar, or I'm going to just use, 4th finger here, fingers 1 and 2. And again, it depends. The fingering depends on what you're trying to do, where you're coming from. Where are you coming from? Where are you planning on going after you've committed to this shape? So it's a good idea to not only look at these other circled tones, but to think, oh man, this chord does not exist in a vacuum. It exists in a place that is continued with the entire continuum that has been with us from the beginning of time, not to get esoteric, but it's the truth, I think. Really cool sound there. So we've got that flatted 3, we've got the 7, which is the fret 7, which is, we're still in, again, position 5. We've moved on. We've got flatted 3, we got root note, we've got 5. Same, so root. We've got all these really beautiful voicings that we're just approaching now. I'd say attacking, but we're really approaching them because they're our friends. We can do a lot of stuff with these things. And position 7, we've changed position again, notify. You got your notification set, I hope, because we made a big change. Here's position 7. We have flat 3, closing up the voice and getting a little closer together. Flat 3, 5, and 1. And then we have the 5, 1, and flat 3 on the top, which is another kind of let's take the A minor, let's take the A minor arpeggio for a triad for a spin through the old process of inversion, and then you have all of them there. All right, so let's go ahead to the next pattern, still on A minor. We've got a few more to go, so I'm just going to keep pushing through, and I appreciate you sticking with me and working through this. I can't thank you enough for all of your wonderful, wonderful critical and fundamental basis that you develop for your comments on this channel, and in particular to this chord chemistry series. Just amazing engagement. I haven't seen it like this on this channel yet, and I definitely appreciate it. It feels like we're all going in the right direction together. So, boy, that feels great to me, and I really wanted to just let you know that for a minute. Okay. All right. Position 7, we've got root note. We've got the 5th. We've got the flatted 3. Oh, we've got some circle notes here. So we have the flatted 3. We have the 5 beneath us. We have the root in the middle somewhere. Next position is going to be A minor again. No surprise there, because I've discussed, we're all going through A minors and period. That's it. So we're working through the A minor chord synonyms and that kind of stuff, essential chords. So we've got the flatted 3 again, the root. Oh, this time we're jumping up to the root. Again, one of Dave Matthews' favorite chord voicings. It's just like these are all part of our nomenclature, our language, our verbiage. These things. I think we can explore those pretty well on our own. I would just encourage you to get on your discovery method, get right down in touch with that discovery method and get excited and stay that way. Maintain it. I don't know what you got to do. If you have any advice for how you stay fresh and excited to approach the guitar, lay it on us. Just lay it on us. We want to hear about it. Like, how do you get up in the morning, put a smile on your face first thing? That's what I do. And I try to just remind myself, hey, like a good friend of mine, Mr. Liberty, says, I got this, every morning. Smile on the face first thing. Like, what do you do? How do you keep moving on, when we don't always see tangible results, and then we might not observe tangible results because we're the player, we're the one experiencing the growth. So we don't always see it. Just maybe a few weeks down the road, all of a sudden something clicks, and then we were like, oh, 5 years went by. Huh, weird. So the next shape is 7, position number 7. We've got the 3rd finger, the 4th finger, and the 2nd finger is what it looks like, because we're indicated that we're in position number 7. So we've got 5, 1, and flat 3. I'm also working on tone production. I have a couple broken fingernails today. Moved some things around to prepare for winter in the yard, and I have to suffer the consequences now with a middle finger and a functional thumb left, so. 5, 1, flat 3. Then we got position number 8. But that's life. That's how this works. So we have the flat 3 in the bottom, right? So we have the A, B, C, or the flat 3. And then we're jumping on up to position fret 9 and then 10. So we have the flatted 3, the 5, and the root. With all of these other notes at our disposal, if we wanted to turn ourselves into like Joe Satriani or 𝗑𝗲 or Mr. Van Halen, we could start. I'm sure you can already see the implications here. Whatever. You can have take it wherever you want. Oh, we're jumping back to position 7. So we have 5. Or 5, here we go, and then the flatted 3rd, and then this one we're working for it a little bit, because we could use the 1st and 4th fingers if we're lazy, which is okay. It's okay to be looking for comfort. That's what we do after we figure out survival. The first thing we find is comfort. We want to find comfort, seek it. fingers 1, all right, 5, flat 3, 1. We have the 3 notes, and then we have the, you know, the optional note of the 5th in there again, right? You can have so much fun. We are going to have so much fun with this book. You have no idea. I mean, you probably have an idea. That's why you're sticking around. All right, next one, position 9. We have a root, a flat 3, and then a 5. I was in an Indian improvisation course in England one time, and then that kind of rings a bell. That position 9 has a few of these, you know, out of reach. You know, we have a few things that we can grab that are circle notes, other chord tones, you know, for example. Position 9 still, we're kicking on to the next pattern. We've got the flat 3, the 5, and then the 1. This is the one that's, you know, it's a nice closed voicing. And what I mean by closed voicing is I don't have the notes, I don't have the flatted 3 down here, you know, an octave reduced or an octave lower than, I don't have a huge gap between the flatted 3 and then the 5 and the 1. You know, it's all right here within the octave. So that's a really nice, beautiful, tight, closed voicing. Yeah, A minor again, surprise, surprise. Still in position number 9 now. We're moving 12, 12. Oh, sounds like we're starting to become country. Oh man, just Danny Gatton's all of a sudden here with us today. So we got 5, 1, flat 3, and then we have a whole, you know, a group of these beautiful options for circled tones, but the basic is the 5, 1, and flat 3. You know, circle tones are important, so I'm going to continue to mention them. Right? We don't want to be left leaving important stuff out. Position 9 still, but now we're using 1 and 5. 5, flat 3, and 1. And you can create all kinds of fun stuff in there. The next one, still in position 9, we're not actually playing position 9 unless we include that circle tone, but we have the dark tones are where we're fretting for sure. So we have the flat 3, the root, and the 5. All right. Then we have, that's just something about that. Just resonates well on the guitar, you know. And then 9, we're moving up to, still in 9, we're using 12, 9, and then 13 is my guess. So we've got a little bit of something's rattling on that amp over there. Maybe it's the bass guitar coming apart. So we got that root note. I'll fix that next time. We've got the root note, the 5, and the flatted 3. You notice I stuck with my promise to not cut this video. Position number 10, we're climbing up. We're moving up the ladder. We're moving up. We're moving on up together. 5, we're reaching back to the flatted 3, and then 4th finger is going to jump on up to that root note. Each one of these voicings is it's its own individual. Even though we've been playing A minor for almost forever now, but it's all different. You know, different strings, different thicknesses, different tensions, different timbres, different tones. So we have the 5, flat 3, and 1. All of those other circle tones can fit right in there if you'd like. Position number 12, we've arrived at 12 now. We have the root, 5. Let's see if we can do that without, yeah, there we go. Just need to not be so heavy on the bass note. So we have the root, 5, and then the flatted 3. 12 again, we have the root, 3, 5. 12 again, we have the 5 root flatted third. You can use whichever fingering you prefer. And the final A minor that we are going to play together today is on position 12 still. We're using flat 3, root, and 1. Nope, flat 3, root, and 5. Because the 1 we've already played as a root note. So we could use I guess it's just a flat 3 root and then a 5. And it just sounds great. So flat 3, root, and 5. Then we have the root, 5, flat 3. Then we have the 5, the flat 3 and the root, and then the 3, root, and 5. So we just inverted that all the way back down to open position. And with that, I want to remind you that I am extremely thankful that we're here able to spend some time together and have a meaningful conversation in the comments of these videos. You have no idea how excited it makes me, and from the sounds of it, it makes all of us excited. So don't hesitate. Feel free to just hang out in the comments, and we'll be kicking around. We'll be kicking it with you. So if you don't have the book yet, get it here. I know the Bruce Lee sound effects, are touch and go, but there it is. You can also find that link to the book in the description. You can get it here and support the channel, or you can find it at your local book seller or whatever, wherever you can find it. If you do find it at a local source, then, we've just been closing out soccer season, and I noticed that, a local dentist supported the soccer season, the soccer team's jerseys. So, there's some weight and value to try to shop local. But if it's convenient for you, and it also serves us to help keep this series alive, keep the channel moving, we definitely appreciate it. And if you have questions, we'll see you in the comments, and look for part C coming right along. Hope you practice. And until that time, happy picking.